Hey everyone, I'm your host, Wedeh Guar, and today is such a fantastic day. I'm smiling from ears to ears. I'm in the studio with a beautiful, loving, inspiring soul. Per interview, before I came on with Miss Holly Kim, am I saying your name right?
Saying it right? Holly
Okay.
Kim.
You know what? A lot of people butcher my name, but I'm okay with it now. It's pronounced Weddy, and I get Wedeh, Ouija, A. As long as you know that I'm a human and you respect me, I'm okay with that. But I am so happy to have you with me today as a co host. You know more about yourself, you know more about you than I do. The audience already know me. I have been on this platform now for a while. Again, my name is Weddy, but I would love for you to please give a brief intro about yourself and take it away.
Okay. Hi, I am Holly Kim, and people get it wrong all the time, but that's okay. I'm with you. Um,
Right.
yes, I'm Holly Kim Sinceri, and I am 64. I just turned that the other day, so it was my birthday.
Happy
And
belated birthday.
thank you. And I love Jesus for the first thing. And I
Yes.
am a life coach and a therapist. For a long time, specialized in addiction. And
Mhm.
when you specialize in addiction, people lose everything.
Mm.
So you have the ability and the honor to work with people that have lost all things. So what that
Mm.
allowed me to do was work with people that have not lost as much. So for
Mm.
being a board certified substance abuse counselor, I became an ordained minister and I've been a life coach for 23 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I'm married 33 years. My second marriage, my first one was
Okay.
not there because I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, and I've been sober for 41 years. And the first one was, completely into, the unhealthy lifestyle.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
one son, and he's adopted, and my husband and I adopted him after 8 years of marriage. So we've been
Mm.
completely blessed with this beautiful Cambodian Billy Bob.
Wow.
Yes. And, you know,
Yeah.
he grew up in South Louisiana, but my husband's from New Orleans, so we have two places. He
Okay.
doesn't really like the city. So just I've had the privilege of helping people parent
Mhm.
many, many years and just never thought that I would couldn't have children because of all the drug addiction use that, the damage. And
Mhm.
so just didn't think I would be good at it, right? And
Mhm.
God gave us this opportunity, and I have a wonderful husband, which made me a
Even
little
better.
courageous.
Yes. Yes.
And so, yeah, I've been able to be a mom, and it's been awesome. So, and the first mom I had to be was to love myself.
Yes.
Yeah, I had to learn.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, it's the truth because I didn't know how to love me well at all.
Mm.
And in the Word of God, it says that you love God, your neighbor, as yourself. And in the old
Yes.
days, you would have put me in prison for the way I treated myself.
Mm. Mm.
And I was in prison, you know,
Yeah.
I was in prison. So, now that I've been set free, my husband and I wrote a book and, we've been doing this process that we do for over 30 something years. And,
Mhm.
now I'm free. I'm free to love. I love myself, the good, the
Right?
bad, and the ugly. And I can love others. I can love you
Yeah.
as deep as I can love me. So
Mm.
everybody's in good shape.
Yes.
And a lot of
Yeah.
need to
Y
learn to love.
Right, right. I am so blessed to have you today on this platform. The audience have heard a lot about you, and so they already know much about me. Again, I'm a single mother of 2. I've been on this journey now on podcasting, living my authentic life, accepting my flaws for what they are, and loving myself boldly for who I am, what I'm becoming, and who I want to be. every day. And this journey has been so motivating, but the only thing that is motivating to me today is the topic that we are about to cover, which is the importance of self care. A lot of people, I feel, have a misconcept when it comes to self care, especially when it comes to single mothers. I feel. I think that we lack self care, especially because our load that is not just meant to be for one person tend to be overwhelming. And then it sets up, have a big old setback in our self care routine or, self care journey as a woman. So, understanding self care, right? What does self care means to you, especially when it comes from the concept of single working mother?
Yeah. Well, self-care is something I think that we're not taught.
Mm.
As little girls, you know,
Mhm.
is, brush your hair, do your teeth, fix your, wash your face, take a bath, make your bed, clean your room, right? But
Mhm.
as far as like really understanding the need of what it means to care for the self,
Mm.
like it's like, who is myself? Me, myself, and I. Who is that person? And what are those needs? And then we have children, right? And
Right.
if you been married or never was married, and here you have these children that they have care. Okay.
Mm.
So they cannot self-care because they're children. So we are constantly self-care, we're caring for them. Okay, we are their self-care. And then
Right.
we're also teaching them to learn self-care. Like, I don't have to
Mhm.
brush your teeth anymore. Now you have to brush your teeth. Okay.
Right.
The inside voice. We don't act our emotions. We speak our emotions. So we're constantly doing that. But in that lessons, okay, of
Mhm.
teaching them care and self-care, we miss out because what we'll do is we care for ourselves through exhaustion.
Yes.
And that's 100% on women, in my opinion. And
Mhm.
we were made from man's rib, right? So we don't
Yes.
have a choice that we think of them first.
Yeah,
God made us that way. I mean, I always say, talk to God. I didn't do it. So,
he did.
exactly. It's like,
Right.
man gets mad at us because we think of them first, and then
Right.
we don't care for ourselves because we think of them first. Okay. Then we have children, we think of them first. Okay. So then if
Mhm.
I'm a single mom, I don't have that partner to help me care for this child and teach them. So
Mhm.
that extra energy that it would be two, doesn't matter why, it is what it is. I'm caring for this child and teaching them. So
Mhm.
and then it becomes really important, right? Because
Yes.
I want them to have more than me, obviously. If you're
Mhm.
this kind of mother, that's what you want, or father,
Yeah.
them to care.
Always want the best for them, but what about you?
Exactly. And we'll put ourselves on the back burner.
Yes.
And that gets only cared for through exhaustion.
Mhm.
It's like, oh my goodness, I haven't been in this. Oh my goodness, I haven't even thought about, how this emotional stuff that's happening to me and how overwhelmed I am and how stressed out
Mhm.
I am. We just keep moving
Keep
until
move.
we
Yeah.
break. And then
Yeah.
we feel awful that we've yelled
Mhm.
at our child, or we've, you know, ask somebody else to take care of them for a little while, even if
Mhm.
that's a healthy thing for us. We're like,
Right.
you ask your girlfriend to take them to the zoo or something, and you just feel awful. Like, you feel so bad you can't even enjoy the massage or the
At
face
all.
or the journaling you want to do, you know? Right. So we just all of a sudden what starts to happen is that rib that we were made from, we
Mhm.
forget that it was made for us.
Wow.
We
This
take
is powerful.
Yeah, we take it
Yeah.
so it's only meant for y'all.
Yeah. This
My
is powerful.
children will do what I do. They don't do what I
Yeah.
say. They will do what I say if I do what I do.
Yes.
I do what I'm saying, they'll do it. But if
Yes.
I'm saying it and not doing it, they will do what I do.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that's exactly true. I remember back in the day at a younger age, my self-care was in a box When I say it was in a box, it was in a box and I didn't even know where the key were. Like I could not find the keys to them.
Yes.
And I will look at myself, and because I lacked self care, my self esteem was so low. I did not see the best version of me.
Yeah.
When I woke up every day, all I knew was I need to provide for me, to provide for these kids. And when I say provide for me, which is push myself to go, mentally stimulate myself to keep going, because I am the sole provider in this thing, on
Right.
this journey. So self care was not part of my day to day routine.
Right.
But when it came down, I don't know what happened. No, I do know what happened. Thank you for the. So I started reflecting. I woke up one day and I told myself, I don't like how my body looked. I had to do something about it. And I went ahead for a walk. I just went and started, walking. And I'm like, but this is something I did in my 20s.
Mm.
I care for myself. I love myself.
Yeah.
Where did I go wrong?
Yeah.
I started journaling
Oh, good.
what I wanted to become. And
Mm.
this was all before therapy.
Wow, that's awesome.
I started jour yeah, I started journaling what I wanted to become, who I wanted to see come out of me, this woman. And the very first thing I said to myself, I need to create or build a relationship around love for me. And I did that. And when I did, I started loving myself. Even at almost 160 something pounds, then I started loving myself. I also started making time for my children. And I started seeing them from a lens of compassion.
Mhm.
All because I was pouring self, all
Right.
because I was giving myself the care that I needed. And it was a life-changing moment for me. So when it comes to self-care, why do you think that oftentimes single mom overlook self-care?
Yeah. I think what it does is it takes time and energy,
Mm,
and in that we don't realize it's just like what you said, we don't realize the importance of it.
mhm.
That the lack of that creates emptiness.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it creates emptiness. And in that emptiness, others feel that, especially our children,
Mhm,
who's closest
mhm.
to us. And
Yeah.
so when and then we there's a part of us that starts to envy, not in an ugly way, but envy of what I'm giving away.
Yeah, and then start to compare ourselves to others too.
Yes. And in that, it's because I'm already empty. So I'm
Mm.
giving away from emptiness. And so it's
Wow.
envy of not having that because I just keep giving it away. And then
Wow.
that makes me resentful, which it doesn't match. It's like I have all this love for my children. I do all of this stuff. And then I have this resentment. And it's like, that doesn't make sense.
It does
Emotionally, it's like
not.
being bipolar.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like Kanye talking about, I'm acting one way, but my belief system's another way. It's like,
Yeah.
it's that. And it's like, it's not that my truth is not that my truth is I want to care for my children and I want to
Mhm.
give them everything. But
Yeah.
because the emptiness and the lack of doing that for myself, there's this bipolarness of now I'm just aggravated. And it comes out in me cooking, it comes out in me folding clothes, it comes out in me making beds. And, it's just a sharpness that I get. So when
Mhm.
I understand that first me, not in a narcissistic, self-centered way, but in
Mhm.
a loving way that, yes, I might have to get up 30 minutes early to journal. I might have to get up 30 minutes early to listen to a podcast on a walk.
Yes.
I might have to, you know, deny that Netflix series I'm watching
Mhm.
6 months to do something, to do sit-ups and push-ups at home because maybe I can't afford a gym. Okay,
Right.
we'll can get an app online that's free and, do 5 things, just anything,
Mhm.
give yourself a facial once a month, like make a schedule. And all of a
Right.
sudden, the emotional life starts to, sometimes if I start to, like you said, you start taking that walk, you start taking care of that, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, this stuff starts coming out of me. That's
Yes, and it starts to sink.
Yes. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to take a walk with Jesus. I'm going to take a walk with God, and I'm going to talk about to him all the things that have hurt me in my life. And
Mhm.
then all of a sudden, the opportunity comes where I get a podcast, I go to therapy, I find a life coach, I do something where
Mhm.
I'm starting to take care of myself better in all
Mhm.
of these areas. So
Mhm.
it's time, it's energy, but then I'm not coming from a place of emptiness.
Yes.
And
But
so,
then at the
right.
go ahead.
No, I was just so there's a well that I can draw from.
Right?
Yeah.
So, when it comes to self-care, right, this is what I would love to tell now that you're here, I'll make it our listeners. Um, when you prioritize time,
Mhm,
because it is time consuming,
mhm.
but in a good way, positive results. When you prioritize time to give yourself the care that you need, stay away from people who are going to bring you down.
That's right. That's right. And you have people that are life-giving,
Mhm.
people that are life-taking.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you wanna know that. It doesn't mean you
Yeah.
love them less.
Yeah.
It just means that, you know, I need to be life-giving there, and as that energy they start to suck me dry, I need,
Mhm.
because there's only
Mhm.
my husband says this, and it was so good. I just love it. There's only two types of relationships. We're either friends or servants.
Mm.
So, friends, it's back and forth, right? We
Mhm.
both give. If I'm a servant, there's no expectations. I give, and I'm not receiving anything. But
Right.
when I am think that you're a friend, but I'm really
Uh-huh.
serving you, then I get my feelings hurt. I have higher
Yeah.
expectations, and
Thank you.
yes, like with children,
Yeah.
it's a servant relationship. I mean, this is give, 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 give.
Yes.
That's what it is. So if I don't give to me or have friends to support me and we equal, then
Mhm.
I'm just giving, and then I get mad at them because they're not grateful. They're not
Yeah.
going to
That's
be. I
true.
mean, we want them to be, but
That is true.
I mean, I know what I did with my son was like, he didn't like to ride the bus. Now, I
Mhm.
was one, right? So I would bring him to school and pick him up. And then one day he was being a little not nice. And I said, well, let me tell you something. Every day I bring you to school is this is an action of love. Okay.
Mm.
And I don't have to do this.
Right.
So you're going to be grateful, and you're going to
For
find
what
10,
I do.
yeah, you can find 10 things why you're grateful that I bring you to school. And
Mm.
you're going to tell me
Yeah.
often, because this action of love is going out of my way to make your life better.
Wow.
So I would teach him, when I am doing an act of love that is not necessity, that
Mhm.
he needed to be grateful. And so I would say, thank you, mom, for doing this for me. And he would be
Yeah.
like, oh, thank you, mom, for doing this for me. I don't know what was an act of love that was a giving situation, not a serving
Mhm.
situation.
Wow.
Don't need to be thank you being your mom, but you can.
Yes.
I'll receive it. Thank you for mom
Yes.
loving me. Da, da, da. But you're going to learn when it's an act of love, and you're going to learn to say thank you, which then it becomes the circle of love, right? That he receives,
Mm.
receive.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's self
When
care,
I
yeah, girl.
yes, it is. Yes, it is from a parent perspective.
That's right. Because I do thank you.
Yes, right? You know, back then, what I said previously, when I was on my self-care journey, I felt like I needed to connect with someone deeper than the surface of me, something deep within me. And when I said that do not associate with people who you know and feel and think are going to bring you down, I meant that from, like from my soul. I would explain, like I would tell you a brief story. I was friends with this guy and didn't know much about him. And I would get up every morning and I would work out. And I told him, well, he suggested, oh, let's share workout activity on the Apple Watch. I'm like, cool. We were doing that. And all of a sudden, I stopped seeing his, like his activity. And I'm like, oh, okay. So not aware of technical difficulties, the tweaks, and how things run. And so I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe he didn't work out today. No, come to find out, he actually deleted me off his app. He took me off. And we were talking something like having a, brief conversation. And then he said, well, the only reason why you're into working out is because your culture have a high expectation on what physical image should look like. And yeah, like when he said it, I'm looking all around like he was on the phone, and in my mind, like, who the hell is he talking to? Right. Right. But I didn't say it. And to this day, I have not even confronted him with this, but I still think like those words live with me. It lived with me. And when I reflect on those words, like sometimes, when I'm going hard in the gym, I'm working out because I try to work out 5 days a week, 45 minutes. And so like if any one of my like audience, people from the audience follow me on social media, you will see that I post like workout videos and stuff, to inspire mothers out there. Take your self-care seriously.
Yeah.
So when I'm in the gym, like sometimes I wake up and hell, I'm only human, and the word will pop up like you only work out because of culture. And I'm saying to myself, this is not true. I'm working out because I truly desire to love who I am in every part of me, not only as a mother, because I was working out before I even became a mom. I was an athlete. I worked out, or I'm currently working out because I want to live long. One, I'm doing it for me. And when I work out, I tend to love myself even more than when I never picked up any weights back then.
Right.
So it's more of a mental motivation, stimulation for me. And it enhances my self growth and development in every area because it motivates me, letting me know that, hey, you're taking your self care seriously. Okay. You're loving yourself. So that means that you can take other areas, other things in your life as important as you are taking your self care. So, what are some of the misconceptions when it comes to self care that you've ever heard?
Well, I think too is that one of the things is that it feel what happens to women is they feel like they're being selfish.
Mm,
If I take the time out to go work out, then I'm not doing the duties.
mhm,
Like the duties are
mhm,
more important than the self care. So,
mhm,
a man doesn't have that. They'll go work out. My husband walks 2 miles a day every day. I don't care what the weather is. And
right,
it doesn't matter what needs to be fixed, what needs to be done.
mhm,
That's first. And it doesn't he has no thoughts about that. But women, they're like, oh, I need to make the bed, I need to do this, I need to do that. So,
mhm,
and we think that it's selfish. And so it's like we
mhm,
gotta move out of that. And, it's like with me, with having people that come in for coaching, it's like the women are like, oh, I feel guilty about the money. I feel guilty about the time. I could be doing this and this. And I'm like, no, if your emotional health is not cared for, then all of a sudden you are not being awake.
Hmm.
You're not there. And it's like, first the body is like, we are a vessel. We already in eternity, okay? It just
Wow.
depends where you're gonna go at the end, right? You're
Thank
already
you.
there. You're already in eternity. It's nothing you can do about it. Okay. If you believe it or
Yeah.
not, none, you're already there. So it's like,
Living it.
right. Once you understand you're in eternity, then it's like, okay, well, for me to be on earth, I have to have a vessel.
Right.
So
Mm.
if I don't take care of the vessel, I can't stay here.
Wow.
So I can't express, the willingness, I have free will. So the willingness to love and to be loved is like, I have to have the vessel.
Mm.
So when I take care of the vessel, then the vessel will help take care of me.
Me.
Right.
Yes.
So then from there, it's like, okay, what else needs love and attention? You know, it's like, okay, I need love and attention in, these wounds in my life that, these
Mhm.
traumas, things that have happened that have been very painful.
Mhm.
I always try to tell people it's not that those things are not, let's see how to say it. The traumas in my life, when they are not loved, and let's just say a family, everybody loses the same thing. It's a
Mhm.
divorce. Okay.
Mhm.
So the parents are in pain, the children are in pain. Okay.
Mhm.
That takes 1,000 pounds of love. Okay. To get on the
Mhm.
other side.
Okay.
Who's going to give you 1,000 pounds of love when everybody's in pain that's going through it? So it's not like I'm lacking to love you. It like in my heart, I
Mhm.
want to help you, but I'm in pain too.
Right.
So 100%, all of us, there's no way all the people involved are going to be able to help each other with that 1,000 pounds of love
Of love, especially when you don't have it to
when you don't
give.
have it because you're hurting yourself.
Hurting. Right.
So it's like learning, and then you have to survive, right? Then you have to
Yeah.
just keep going, right? And then there comes a day when things are hopefully a little settled,
Yeah.
or it gets a little messier, but it's
Right.
different. So, we're in a safe place. They're in a safe place. Okay, we're there. But now
Mhm.
I'm emoting, right? The emotions are coming. I'm like, I'm crying in the grocery store when I see a family, or, I'm like,
Right.
"Ah, pull it together. But the truth is, I need 1,000 pounds of love.
Right.
So in that, I can't do it for my children because I need it.
Mm.
They need it, but I need it. I can't give
Right.
it. I haven't given myself.
Myself.
Right. So that's what I try to tell people. It's like,
Mm.
okay, you're going to learn to love that wound. And okay, let's just say it takes to the day you cross over, because we know when you cross over, there's no more pain, right?
Right.
Like for you to get, you only make it to 900 pounds of love, okay, on that issue. But you've just been loving yourself the whole time.
The
So
whole
where
time.
we learn, what I teach is that it's not something that I need to deal with. It's something I need to love. These are traumas
Wow.
in my life that I've learned to survive, sometimes healthy in the true self, authentic way, and
Mhm.
sometimes in the unhealthy way. Okay.
Right.
Drinking too much, eating too much, whatever it was, you know,
Mhm.
protecting myself from that, loving myself in the wrong way. Okay. And
Right.
then I learned, okay, no, no, no. When I
No.
tell all those things no, not to love me in those ways because they're not healthy, then all of a sudden, it's not like I go from that to my true self. I mean, wouldn't that be wonderful? No,
Right.
we're in between. It's like Moses in the desert, right?
Right.
Slavery, we get out of slavery, but guess
Right.
what? We have to walk through the desert. Okay. So it's like I learned to love that part and then I get to show up. So it's like,
Mhm.
what you can do first is start to walk. You can, take care of the physical and then you move into the wounds of life,
Mm.
and we call that the wounded child for us. And so we just name claim it. That's a part of me. And then I have a part of me that wants to do things unhealthy, either
Mm.
work out, 3 hours a day. I'm not working out unless I'm going to work out 3 hours a day, or, I'm going to eat cake, whatever it is. And it's like, and now this is what I'm going to
Right.
do. I'm going to have cake on Sunday and I'm going to walk.
Right.
It's like, learn, but this has to always be loved. And I'm not mean to this part.
Mhm.
Somebody that's acting out, you don't throw them out the house. You love them. So
Right.
it's like I learned to love the part of me that is not so nice sometimes. I learned to love the part of me that has not done so nice things.
Things,
And
right.
I have to love all of me. And if I learn to do that, then when you bring your stuff that's not so pretty to the
Uh-huh.
table, then I can love yours.
Wow. That's a deep touching message, Miss Holly. Um, when since we're still on the topic of the importance of self-care, do you think that one of the main reasons why single mothers are lacking self-care is because they have some form of shame that
Mhm.
they're holding on to?
Yeah. I would say yes. I would say, I mean, you grow up in America. I know you grew up in America. You said when you're
Yeah.
13. I don't know about other countries, but I know in our country is that, the ideal, you
Mhm.
know, is to have husband and wife and have babies, right? And you
Right.
have this little nuclear family, right? Which is, in the word, right? However, it doesn't always work out because maybe
Right.
one part, maybe we were in love, the two people that fell in love, but we
Mhm.
didn't stay our true selves through the relationship because we got
Mhm.
triggered, we got wounded, and then we start to protect ourselves. They start to protect themselves, and we don't know how to get back to who we really are. So we
Mm.
end up leaving the part of you that I didn't marry.
Mm.
So the shame of that I failed. Like I've been divorced before, and the shame of that is like, we mark it up like a notch of failure. And then you add any other failures, whatever
To
those.
it. Yeah.
And now this is like the big doo 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 doo, And then you got these children, and do I go back to my old last name? Do I keep the same name as my children? So you got all
Right.
these decisions, and then you go places, and you're the one, right? Even if the
Right.
father's involved, there's many times you're the only one. You're the
The
single
only one.
and then if you have a husband that's not involved or, whatever, it's like
Yeah.
that daddy is not involved. It's like
Mhm.
you're really the one. You can't even pretend in your head that
Mhm.
somebody, the prince is not coming, okay?
Yeah.
It's it. This is it. So the shame of that is like, like for my mom, it always felt like the Scarlet Letter. Like she was, and we were the
Mm.
Scarlet Children because we were the only children, and my sister and I were the only children in our elementary school that came from a divorced family in South
Wow.
Louisiana, Catholic. The whole town's Catholic as far as I thought. So and that was like mortal sin. You didn't do that. You
Mhm.
could go to communion. My mom could go to communion. They had all these rules in the Catholic Church at that time, and
I did
so
not know that your mom was a single mother.
well, my parents got divorced, and then my mom was a single mother, and my dad didn't pay child support, and he would, I would go to my grandmother's house, my father,
Mhm.
every summer. So
Okay.
he was very stressed out, and then she married my stepfather, and yeah, so yes, and she was stressed to the max you know.
Wow.
So, seeing that is, and when you're a kid, you don't understand.
You don't.
You don't understand. You just think, why are you so mean?
Yeah.
Why aren't you nicer? And
Yeah.
why did you leave him? Because for you it's your dad. It's not your husband.
Yeah.
And you're excited, you're excited when you see him. It's like
Yeah, it's like yeah, like they're selfish and it's okay to be selfish as a child or as any individual.
that's
It's okay to be selfish and they solely want mom and dad together and when it doesn't work,
right.
they're like, "Okay, you should have never left him. He should have never left you," but then at the end of the day, whoever get to keep the kid
Yeah,
become stressed out. And
totally.
due to those many stressors that are like consistently adding up,
Yes.
self-care goes down the drain.
Yes. It gets lost.
Yeah.
One of the things I tell single mothers is if there is a teenager kid around,
Mhm.
especially if you got little kids, like say 12 and under,
Mhm.
and you have more than one especially. But if you have a teenager around your neighborhood that, is kind, and the parents a little bit, maybe not great, but the kid's kind, you can get them, find out what is it that is important to them. Okay, so maybe they, anything. And, I'll take you shopping if you'll come over and help me fold clothes.
Mm.
I mean, because, doing laundry is a big deal when you
Yeah.
got children. And so, I'll cook supper for you, and you can eat supper with us, and I'll take you, and, we can go have a shopping day and dinner.
Yeah.
And, and if you'll come help me fold clothes twice a week.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
all of a sudden, you've invited this other little child in your family, and you're loving them, but they're helping you, and then you get to have a day that you're not responsible for emotionally and all that. And then your children see how you love someone else and how others help. Then they want to be
Mhm.
helpful because they want
Yes.
to be like that instead of just being a taker, which that's what they do
Yes.
anyway. But when they understand that the help brings joy to you, which brings joy to them, there's
Damn.
little things that you can do that it becomes community.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like you got to, like, I loved what you said. Like, I didn't even know there was a box. You're like, I know there's a box. I don't know where the key is. I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
you really need to think out of that box and
Yeah,
know.
you do. You
Yeah.
do. And until I took yeah. Yeah, and until I took the time to
Mhm.
locate the key, which is my thoughts, to reprogram my thoughts.
Yes.
That was me locating the key,
Yeah.
reprogramming my thoughts,
Hmm.
doing a lot of self reflection, a lot of journaling
Yes.
to get to know me and understanding myself as to my kids are not bad.
Right. And I always tell people,
Yeah,
don't call them bad. Don't
my
put that
kids are not bad.
right. They're hurting, or they're angry.
They're hurting because I am hurting.
Right, and they love you, and they're so and
And
two
they love, yes. And then I'm like, okay, focus on you, wake
Mhm,
up. You said 30 minutes. That's good. I'm up now an hour.
good, because you worked into it, yeah.
Yes, I've worked into it. I've given myself that time prep to
Yes,
let myself know, hey, this time is for you.
right,
I need this time for me.
mhm,
And until I could do that, I
right,
never saw the glow in myself. But now I see beyond the glow. I see the communication, the bonding of my kids and I is different.
yeah,
All because I took out the time to invest, to
yeah,
see the importance of self care my way for me.
that's right. It's different on everybody.
Yeah, it's different for everybody.
Right, right, it's different for everybody.
It's different for everybody. And one thing I want our listeners to understand is that when you're on a self care journey, especially if you are a 9 to 5 single working mom, a single mother, please do yourself a favor. I almost said wear dark sunglasses, but no, that would just be me being sarcastic. No, do not compare yourself to others.
Exactly,
Self comparison is one of the things that leads to you having the lowest and lowest of self esteem.
exactly.
Because you're not them, they're not you. You don't want to be them, and I'm very sure they do not want to be you. Everyone's journey is so different and unique in its own way. Look at yourself.
Mhm,
Reflect on who you are and what you want to be.
that's right.
For me, I look forward to my results.
Mhm,
So it's like it boosts me to want to work harder to achieve what I want. So what are some of the strategies that you know that you can give our audience today that they can implement into their day-to-day self-care routine to let them know that okay, it's important to have self-care. You're not selfish at all to give yourself time to invest in yourself.
yeah, and I love what you just said, invest in yourself. That's one of the things I always tell people. You gotta invest in yourself. Um,
Yes.
Well, one of the things that I teach is how to dissect the inner life.
Mm.
Because what for myself, and then, being a recovering person, a recovering addict and alcoholic, I have I had these belief systems
Mhm.
uh, from the wounding of my life. Okay,
Mhm.
like marriage isn't good, it's violent, that I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough,
Mhm.
no one's ever going to love me unless I'm perfect. Like I had all
Right.
these belief systems. Okay, then from those belief systems, I built another set of belief systems on how to react and not be hurt anymore. So what
Mm.
I teach people is that I didn't feel like there was a good language for the inner life, okay? Because when
Mhm.
you use a word, you could use a word and I have a different definition. So when you
Mhm.
say we don't communicate well, it's just that we have different definitions for words. So
Right.
it's fighting over that versus what we're really trying to say, okay?
Mhm.
So as a life coach and a therapist, I could not take that risk of not understanding what you were trying to tell me. So I created my
Mhm.
own language. Okay. So that way we would not have miscommunication. And then you can use that language for yourself. So
Right.
you make sure that you know exactly what you wanted to say, when you want to say, how you want to say it, and then you could communicate that. So what
Mhm.
I did was help people understand that there's a part of them, and people speak like this all the time. There's a part of them that is very hurt from life. And we call
Mhm.
that the wounded part, the wounded child, because you feel like a wounded child.
Mhm.
You don't want to go to work, you feel little, you can't get out of bed, you don't want to do this, you don't want to be a mom. I don't want to be, not that I don't want to be
Right.
a mom, but I don't want to be responsible for
Right.
it.
Responsible for
Little.
it. It's a
Yeah,
lot,
you can't do it.
especially if
And
you're the only one.
exactly. And you feel little. And so
Mhm.
you have a rule book. And then you have this other part of you that's like, I'll be superwoman, or, I feel depressed and I can't get out of bed, right? Or,
Mhm.
I'll sedate myself in some way. And then this gets a belief system of how to handle life. Okay,
Mhm.
which becomes self-destructive in a way. Okay.
Mhm.
So then there's the true self. So who am I? And that was exactly what you were talking about. Who am I? What is good for me? And how do I do that? Because the
Mhm.
other two parts of me are going to compare. They're going to, see the world out of this wounded world, okay, that I
Right.
lived in or had experienced. So even if it wasn't met that way, like the intentions were not negative, but it still happened, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That what I do is I teach people to hear that part, love that part, and name and claim that part. And then
Mhm.
like a nickname that when I think that way, that's this part. And then
Yeah.
you have another nickname for this part of me. And I don't know if you ever saw Yellowstone, but that part of me is like Beth. Okay. And she is not nice. Okay. So she's like rough and tough and, I don't need
Right.
nobody and I got this.
I
And, yes, God forbid. And, I hear her. I mean, I hear those thoughts. So what I do is I say, thanks for sharing. I hear them. I let him have a voice. I may even draw because I like to draw. I have
uh,
an art journal, so I'll draw what she wants to do. And then I say, thanks for sharing. And then
right?
I want to know what the wounded child wants to say about it. And I say, thanks for sharing.
For
I know.
sharing.
And then
Yeah.
guess what? Everything gets quiet and I can hear
Oh,
my truth.
your true self.
Yes, I can hear my true self. I can hear the voice of God. I can hear my conscience. I can hear what I need to do. I can get in silence and there's no
Wow.
chatter. And when we can do that, you have true inner peace. It's like, and then I can have compassion for myself and for you, and I can make a plan. So,
Yes.
where I teach is how to do this, how to love
Mhm.
this. Like, because they used to tell me in therapy and in counseling, oh, yeah, you have to love yourself. So, I'd leave therapy
But
and go,
how?
I've done this to fill my shoes because in my
Right.
family, if you were a good girl and they loved you, they bought you things. So I go buy shoes.
Right.
I couldn't afford to buy the shoes at that time. I was divorced. It was like, what are you doing? You can't buy your shoes. Now I'm in stress because I got credit
Right.
card debt.
Right.
So I'm like, So in that, it's like, this is what that means. Love yourself, Holly Cap. I got to love the part of me that carries all the trauma. I got to love the part of me that acted out and wants to act out unhealthily,
Mhm.
wants to eat the cake, wants to be anorexic, wants to
Mhm.
smoke a cigarette or drink. And, all of that's no, 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 no.
No.
But how many times you tell your child no, right? No, 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 no. But you still love them, right? They still
Yeah.
want things, but you say no and you love them. So it's like I had to do that to myself, learn no. And then it got quiet. And
Mhm.
then I could hear and say, this is what I'm going to do. This is the vision
Wow.
I have. Exactly what you said. What was the vision of my life? What is it? I mean, God says, my people perish because they have no vision. So
Yeah.
I teach people we have three belief systems: my wounded belief, my protector belief, and my true self belief. And if I don't
Mm.
know the difference, I give triple messages, I give double messages to myself and to you. And then I live in confusion. And we know the
Wow.
confusion is of a who. So we don't want to be
Yeah.
there, right? So once I can separate them, it's like folding clothes. If I put my underwear and I put my socks and I put my overcoat and I put my best shirt in the same drawer, getting dressed in the morning, it's going to be difficult.
Yes, it is.
It's going to be difficult. So that's what we do with our inner life. All that gets mixed up, and then I'm wondering why I'm overwhelmed and confused. Once I separate it like laundry, I put all the underclothes in one area, I
Yes.
put all the outer clothes in the other area, and then I put all the things that I need to wear during the day here. Whew. Getting ready becomes very simple.
It becomes easier. That way you can pick out, hey, this is the socks I want to wear with this. This is the underwear. This is the actual outfit.
Yes. And this is the
And
overcoat or the scarf.
this is the overcoat and the, yes. And then here you go presenting yourself because that is something you have aligned yourself with.
That's right. So that's the
Wow.
work that I do inside is doing laundry. How do I fold those things and put them in
Wow.
right drawer, in the right category? So when I get triggered, because all triggered is people, we get triggered. All triggered is an opportunity to love that 1,000-pound thing
Mm,
that didn't get enough love.
yeah. I
That's
also see trigger as something as getting to know yourself.
yes, yes,
Because if you're not triggered, you don't know what sets you off.
exactly. And you don't
You
know what
don't,
needs to be loved.
yeah, you don't know that side of you that needs the love.
That's right.
You don't know the side of you that actually needs the self-care. So if you're not, so people look at trigger as something so bad,
No, they do.
like, oh, this is triggering me. Well, if it's triggering you, then it needs attention. It
So
needs love. It needs care.
it's
Okay?
bleeding.
Yeah.
If your arm is bleeding, are you going to just put a shirt on and pretend it's not there?
Thank you.
No, you pull the sleeve up and you look at it and you
The wound and see how deep it is.
exactly. And if it's very deep, well, you do what you need to do. You go to the hospital. You go to
Thank you.
do something. And it's the same thing with our inner life.
Yeah. Wow.
Look, hell. I lived in hell. I used to call my family Vietnam because you never knew when the bomb was going to go off, and you never
Oh
knew.
my God.
My dad was my stepdad that I grew up
Okay.
with, Green Beret. So it was
Mhm.
Vietnam in my house. You never know. At any moment, anything could happen. So
Right.
then I created my own Vietnam. I created my own war in my own house.
Wow.
And then I had to, come out of that. And so when
Mhm.
it's like when my husband and I, Dean, my husband today, got married, we were on the beach in Santorini in Greece, and we were making our life plan, right? And I said, well, I want to write a book. And he goes, how you gonna write a book? I like, him, you're ADD, and well, he said you're dyslexic, and I'm very dyslexic. And I said, well, that's why I got you. You got all these degrees. You can help me.
It's called partnership. We're doing together.
That's right. So what it was I didn't want my life and the suffering to be a waste. And that if there was anything that I could offer another human being to help them, then so they'd have less suffering. That was my intention of the heart. And
Wow.
I believe that God had downloaded me the process on how to do the
Mhm.
laundry, internal laundry, right? And
Wow.
be able to take it with them
Mhm.
so it becomes a lifestyle.
Wow.
So today I have people, that will call me, leave me texts, message me that I've known and have done this process for over 30 years,
Mhm.
and they're still doing it.
Wow.
because it became a way. It's, like you can fold laundry a thousand ways. It became a
Yeah.
way to do their internal loving their laundry, loving themselves. And
Mhm.
it's because it's so visual, it's stuck with them that they're still doing it. And then I get the privilege of hearing some of the beautiful results, you know?
Oh, so yeah.
I
Oh
know,
my
isn't that
goodness.
nice?
This is good. This is good. I am so happy again to have you on this episode with me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Holly Kim. It was such a pleasure
Hey,
hosting this episode with you. Tell your husband, me and the audience, we say thank you for being on board and
yes.
acting accordingly. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And if you can please, first of all, are you on any social media platforms?
Yes, we're on everything. We're on
Okay. Can you give the audience like a link or something, a
um
name?
yeah. Our website is I have a voice.
I have a voice. Dot
Yes,
com. Okay.
yes. And from there, you can find our YouTube channel, and our YouTube channel is I Have a Voice
Mhm.
1212. And
Okay.
we have over 300 videos from 30 seconds to an hour on all free on all different subjects. And
Okay.
also on our website, I Have a Voice, you can find our online course and our book, A Roadmap to the
The
Soul.
roadmap to the
Yes,
soul.
Roadmap to the Soul. That's the book. See, you helped me.
Yes.
So you can. The book is a workbook as well, but it's how to get to inner peace, and then
Mhm.
the course, the online course, we just did that a year ago, and it's the book. We teach it. You get classes, you get activations, and then we do live Zoom calls through the 4 months to
Wow.
help you and ask. It's, we teach all those at about 10-15 minutes
Mhm.
every week on that. So yeah, just trying to get the message out. And we have somebody from Hong Kong on. We got people from Hawaii, Alaska. We got all kind. I mean, it's wonderful because like this
Wow.
with the internet, we can really love people all over the world. We get
Right, and connect, and connect. You never know who you just might meet.
to know, huh?
Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, you have it. The importance of self-care. Self-care does not have a limit, and self-care does not require judgment. Thanks for tuning in. Have you a good day. Stay blessed. And if you don't know how to love yourself first, take it one day at a time. Self investment is the best way out. Have a good one.